and I'm joined by the Hardcore crew. But before we do that, I want to give a quick shout out to Mr. and Mrs. A, who are over at BC Games and More, and that's in the group section. Mr. and Mrs. A like to do a lot of old retro video games. They do trivia, give out gifts, and much, much more. Once again, Mr. and Mrs. A, BC Games and More, and it's live Sunday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And of course, I'd like to introduce the incomparable Lance Moss over at Lance Moss TV. Lance, what's shaking?
Not too much. That episode of Dynamite was friggin' insane.
You know what was? I have to say that was that was going to be a little bit lukewarm with the Battle of the Belts coming up and Rampage, but apparently, Joe, it was a great Dynamite.
Oh hell yeah!
Okay, Joe, step up to the mic, please.
Yeah, please.
I am by the mic. I'm by the mic.
There you are.
I can't get any closer to it unless I start eating it.
Okay.
I want to try that.
I don't want to eat it. But yeah, what a great Dynamite, and what there we go. That probably works.
Woo.
Yes, I know, isn't it loud? But it was a great Dynamite. I mean, they add everything they needed to prepare for Battle of the Belts. Great to see that they even included the Ring of Honor titles in here. You know what? I stand by it. I'm like WWE. I know they've been around for years, but guys, I don't know. These guys are just, the crowd is into them, not like WWE where everybody's quiet. The crowd is into it. We're into it. That's professional wrestling.
Absolutely, wrestling. That's sports entertainment. And we're going to get to that little joke in a little bit. But, Joe, you wanted to start this off with who was the better champions. And
yeah, right. The topic, ladies and gentlemen, everybody who's watching, and I'm currently sharing this stream as well. Right now, let me just say, who has the better champions? Who has the better show? Who has the better talent? We've been talking about it all the time. Every time we come on the show here, we are always talking about AEW and WWE. We have two big brands. Impact is out in the distance. Ring of Honor is kind of getting revived. Well, guys, let's look at what we got here. We've got the champions. We're not, as you can see with WWE, they have 2 world tag titles. Well, AEW has 1. Well, 2 because they have FTR, which I didn't include him.
Actually, that's a very fair point. But they also have, those titles are outside after the AAA and Ring of Honor. So, but you know what? We'll start with the ladies. Over on Raw, you got Charlotte, who's the world champion, women's world champion, and she's a great wrestler. I love her matches. She's great. She's won pay-per-view after pay-per-view after pay-per-view. She's a spectacle. And unfortunately, when it comes to WWE, they're the bigger company, so they can afford to make the bigger stage, and put a little bit more icing on the cakes, if you will. If I would compare her to Thunder Rosa, I'm gonna give it a crapshoot. Now over SmackDown, you have Bianca Belair, and again, great round wrestler, great worker. But then you have the TBS Women's Champion, Jade Cargill. I think in that one case, Jade's got the win. I don't know about you, Joe.
You know what? And the way I position this is because you have champions and champions. You have 2 champions on AEW, 2 women's champions in WWE. The one thing we gotta say is WWE has the established people. Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair. Personally, yes, both ladies have great talent. They've been there so damn long, especially Charlotte. They need to invigorate new blood into their women's division. Bianca Belair, very good. Let's see what she could do with the title. But I'm going to look at who is the harder working person in this group. I got to say it's Thunder Rosa. Jay Shagil, great young talent. She is still learning. She's no Charlotte Flair. She's no Bianca Belair. She's still pretty much, a novice, still learning. But I got to say, personally, me, the hardest worker in that group, it is the AEW Women's Champion, Thunder Rosa.
Absolutely. Lance, over to you.
Yeah, like I say, SmackDown has the seed of Ric Flair. Raw has Bianca Belair with that really freaking long hair. And personally, AEW, Jade Cargill, like you say, she's green. And my pick of the hardest worker of the four of them, La Mera Mera Thunder Rosa.
And like I said, Jay Cargill, to me, she's still a force. Yeah, she's green as grass, but she's picked out the game very quick. I don't know if she's wrestled anywhere else, or has she wrestled for any other promotions that anybody knows of?
I'm not sure.
No, she came trained for AEW, and that's it. This is all she's been doing.
So she was an AEW powerhouse.
Yep. Which you could see that she's all power.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have tag team champions. And Joe, you made a fair point that WWE has Raw and SmackDown tag teams. Now, out of all the teams, and then, I'm going to have to give the Usos on that one. The Usos, despite their number of DUIs, they've had title reigns, and they've been together for years, and it's in their DNA to have success. Now, over on AEW, obviously, you have Jurassic Express, great tag team. They're fun to watch, definitely very skilled in the ring. But unfortunately, again, I gotta pick the Usos on that one, Joe.
Well, yeah, you know what? Hold up, we got a report from Terry over on Twitch. He says Jade was trained out of Dustin's wrestling school and went directly into AEW like a few other wrestlers. So Thank you, Terry, for injecting that. He is now Mike Tenay of HWR. Yeah, you know what? RK Bro, the Raw Tag Team Champions. I'm annoyed. The best way to say is they're the most annoying tag team because you got Riddle, who's an idiot, who I wish somebody would beat him over the head with his scooter. Randy, who's got that porn mustache, and I think he's just one cowboy hat and cowboy vest away from being like his dad. You can't deny the Usos. The Usos are, as you say, Rick, established. They're veterans. If they could control their demons, they would be even better. I don't like their gimmick. The thug life thing I think is retarded. But then you're looking who the Usos are. Over in AEW, you got the Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus, and Luke Perry's son, Jungle Boy. These guys got so much potential. They're still young. They still got a long way to go. So, yeah, Rick, I'm going to toss it to the Usos.
And Lance, over to you.
All right. When it comes to Raw's Tag Team Champions, RK Bro, honestly, they are losing the titles one more time, and then Matt Riddle's going to eat an RKO. It is what it is. Now we get down to the real question here. The Usos versus Jurassic Express. Like y'all say, the Jurassic Express has a lot of potential, but in this case, between the two, I've got to give a slight edge to the Usos.
All right, and there you have it. And now we're gonna go with the TNT title belt and the Intercontinental title belt. Now, obviously, the IC belt itself is legendary. Ricochet is the Intercontinental Champion over WWE, and then you have Scorpio Sky, who's the TNT title over in AEW. Um, both, again, are very, very talented. We're going to say this over and over again. Um, Ricochet, high flyer, he's fast. But then you got over on AEW, Scorpio Sky is a veteran. He's won multiple titles, tag titles, you name it. He has, far more experience. So on this one, I got to give it to the TNT champion. Lance, over to you.
Well, boss, I hate to disagree with you, but personally, in this case, especially as of late, hadn't really been enjoying Scorpio Sky's work, so I'm actually going to side with Ricochet.
All right, Joe, over to you.
You know what? I look at the Intercontinental Championship, and like you said, this is a title that goes back to the Ricky Steamboats, the Randy Macho Man Savage, the Pedro Morales. It's a who's who's won that belt. If you look at the TNT Championship, it's still new. It's still being proven. Scorpio Sky is it's a good deserving champion, but he's no Sammy Guevara. I think it would have tipped the scales more into AEW if Sammy was holding that belt. So I got to give the edge to Ricochet. Now, I if we look at the picture also, we do have the United States champion, Finn Balor.
Actually, yes, but I want to argue a quick point about Scorpio Sky. Yes, right now the storyline he's in is pathetic. But he was also the first TNT champion. So he had that. He's a two-time champion, and that's just in AEW. He worked down in TNT where, he was winning the X Division champion. He was a tag team championship with Kazarian, but then again, who wasn't? And he's worked with other promotions. So that, for me alone, like I said, that's why I am picking Scorpio Sky in this particular situation. And then, yes, we have the United States Championship, and I can't even call it a title. I know people do, which is the FTW title, Ricky Starks. Finn Balor, for me, again, this guy can do it all. He's been all over the world. He's won multiple titles. And right now, WWE's just kind of just like rubbing his nose in the dirt and gave him a cookie, which is the U.S. title. Ricky Starks, up-and-comer, but you know what? He still has a lot to prove, so I'm picking Finn Balor, Lance.
Yeah, sorry, Ricky, but I got to go with the Demon King here. I got to go with Finn.
And Joe, final picks.
Looking at Finn Balor, I think he's a good talent. Obviously, perfect. He's a good worker. He knows how to get in there and fight. But it's usually not up to how talented the guy is, but how much of a push he gets in WWE. And we've seen how his pushes get really destroyed after a while. Ricky Starks, right now, he's more into tag teams. So I think that's kind of hurting his FTW championship. So it's kind of a toss-up. I would have to say Finn Balor, but that's a very, 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 very narrow thing because of his history in the company.
Okay, well, I was going to say, we're talking about these wrestlers, and, you can say in the WWE, but, again, this is just a highly argumentative topic. I mean, because Finn Balor, for me, is hands down. No disrespect to Ricky Starks. the FTW title itself is kind of, it's a man-made title. The Taz didn't want to win or whatever. I don't know the whole story behind it because, frankly, I've seen around. It was in WWE's version of ECW, and it was annoying because
Yeah.
it's never defended.
Can I give you a little bit of a quick history on it?
Go ahead.
During the original running of ECW, the Paul Heyman Philly version of ECW,
Yeah.
Taz wasn't getting a world title shot, or he already was past that point where they didn't want to give him the belt anymore. So in counter that, he came with the FTW. That was his own belt that he created. He did defend it because it was between I believe he lost it to Sabu and then won it back. So it is basically it's like fuck the world. That was the way the belt was created. And he has defended it in a lot of ECW's early years. So it has a history, and then he did take it to other places, and then he laid it dormant. So you could say the belt has resurfaced after a few decades. So that's where the belt is right now. I would put it like this. I will hold that as the equivalent to the TNT title when it comes to life being active now. So it's still a brand new belt.
All right. Fair enough. Now we got, of course, the World Championships. We have WWE. I'm just gonna call it the WWE Championship because I know they united them or whatever what they want to fucking call them. And of course, the AEW Champion. Right now, I know Lance is not gonna be happy with me, but you got Hangman Page. Great wrestler. He's worked around the indies. He is seasoned. But then you have a powerhouse like Roman Reigns. Now, I may not like the WWE, but when Roman Reigns is in the ring, he's putting asses in seats, and he is overall a great worker. So I gotta pick Roman Reigns. So far, I can find that I'm picking WWF wrestlers, which I haven't watched the company for, I don't know, 3 solid months now. Joe, over to you.
I gotta agree with you, boss. Roman finally has hit his niche. I think he's got to the point where after so long, we've been bored of his ass for so long. They finally came up with a gimmick that works. You can't knock his success, and we all know it's not like he's won the belts. He's handed the belts. He's earned the right to be the champion. He's had some good matches with people, so it's still building. Hangman, he's a great, talented guy. He can get in the ring. He could do a lot, and I think the only thing is he doesn't have the charisma. He doesn't have like the Jericho charisma. He doesn't have the that ability to draw you. His ring skills, it does, but I think the personality, the gimmick, I just don't think that's something that's gonna you can actually put head to head against Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I agree. Even when he was doing that drinking and I'm just gonna get drunk thing, it was kind of like, oh my god, it was kind of like off the cuff, which WWE is very, very like quiet, shut down, and everything else we can see in the world where AEW is trying to be a little bit more realistic. But it got dry after a while. And no pun intended, Hangman finally dried up and started getting wins, and he's now the AEW champion. But to me, Hangman Page, great wrestler. I love him whenever he's in the ring, but he's got a hell of a lot more to prove before I can say he's better than Roman Reigns. Lance, over to you.
I'm actually going to surprise you just a little bit right now, boss. Now, had this been babyface Roman, you would have been 100% accurate. on what I was going to say. Because I actually despise Roman as a babyface. But this is actually
I think everybody does.
But I'm actually a little bit toss up on this one. Because y'all know I love cowboy shit. But I'm actually a big heel Roman fan too. So I gotta go toss up on this one.
All right, fair enough. So there you have it. Terry I don't know if he's still in the chat room, if he had his thoughts. But we're gonna move along. The sexiest lady in wrestling, Alexa Bliss, got married, and I'm gonna tell you guys, Alexa Bliss, there is nobody hotter than her, even in Sunny in her prime when she was,
Yeah.
Sexy woman, great body, great ass, and she's got those baby blue eyes, blonde hair, and then she marries this schmuck who had his hair pink. And okay, I'm sorry, let me try to fix my antennas here. Joe, you're static.
What? I'm here. What?
Got real bad static.
Joe, you watching an old school TV or something?
Yeah.
No, actually, no. I actually had a old school TV where I was playing Sega Genesis.
Okay.
It sounds like you got a blizzard coming in your ear.
Yeah. So, Joe.
Hold on. Let me stop this. All right. How's that?
No, same thing, Joe.
Same.
All right. Hold on.
Joe, you kill our viewers, even I'm not watching.
How's that now?
A lot better. But yeah, I forget the guy's name. What was his name?
It doesn't matter. He's Mr. Bliss.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan Cabrera or Cabrera. I don't know. I know he's a singer. Hasn't really been doing much, but yeah, he tied tonight. He got a hold of it, and Bliss hasn't been seen for a couple of weeks. A lot of people thought it was downtime or try to recreate. I guess this is just for her setting up because she's planning her wedding and honeymoon and what have you. But I still cannot get over the picture of Ryan, this guy, who had hot pink hair, which was the same color of Alexis Bliss's ends of her hair. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Can I make an observation here?
Yeah, go ahead.
And this is an observation. I'm looking at your picture that you put up. They have the same lips, the same facial expressions. They have the same eyes. I wonder if they're related.
You know, I'm going to tell you, looking at the picture now, you're going to have to wonder if maybe somehow she was in a band of brother, and the parents couldn't tell, Bliss. I'm like, Alexa, yeah, you have a brother. You might want to check his DNA.
Yeah, you're screwing your stepbrother or something like that. One thing I got to say is this guy must have fucking tons of money because he looks like a dork. He's probably got like I'm not. And again, this is not. This is an observation. I tells it like it is. I looking at him like, okay, you must have tons of money to have that little girl, or should I say that woman, interested in you, or there's something in it that makes her attracted to this guy. So he has to have money. He has to have a fucking good job, or he's secretly their brother and they're redoing Taboo the movie.
Unfortunately, not. But you know what, Lance? I know that Alexa Bliss again is your pinup. So your thoughts on this?
Well, for one, this dude, money-wise, I don't know about that because even back in his heyday, he was barely a one-hit wonder, and I don't remember the name of the song he got famous for.
Yeah, exactly. My girlfriend, she was shocked. Shit. I told him the name. She goes, yeah. She goes, he hasn't played it, had any albums out for a while.
Yeah.
Some of his music's okay.
Now, something funny did happen at the wedding. Okay. She has always been close friends with, and I can't remember his real name, so I'll just go with his gimmick name, Braun Strowman. And when he sat down, given the fact that Braun is a very large man, he broke a damn chair.
You leave
sure, guys.
Little Big alone.
Yeah, but when he sat down, a chair couldn't, and he destroyed the damn chair.
All right, let me cut you off real quick. Terry in the chat room says, when I see this, even I was shocked by it. I was like, kind of the Nikki marrying dancing with the Stars guy, and then Dolph Ziggler, whom married in a heartbeat, would marry her in a heartbeat. So it's Adam Scherr, Scherr. That is the proper name. But just gonna have to move along. Cody Rhodes slipped on this past Monday Raw 2 words, banned words, during the Miz TV segment. And apparently the way it started was that Cody Rhodes said, that he came here to win the championship belt, and he wants to be, and he wants to be the best wrestler in the world. I guess Miz kind of covered for him and he's saying, we don't have belts, you use them to hold up your pants. So, you know what, John? I guess I have to wonder, is that the wrestler Cody Rhodes from AEW, and who's also in New Japan, kind of still inside his mindset?
Absolutely. Here's a guy that still thinks AEW. Now, you're in the land of woke and cancel culture. You're going to have to abide by everything that WWE says. Don't say belt. You can't say belt. It's a championship title. I remember back in the day, Hulk Hogan had a championship belt. I remember when Macho Man had a belt. Ric Flair had a belt.
Woo!
Thank you, Lance.
Well, yes, but that was the World Wrestling Federation. Now this is the Worldwide Entertainment.
Oh, well, world's worst entertainment at this point. Yeah, Rick, it's just stupid.
Now, Lance, there are words that right now that Cody Rhodes, how he's going to be on top, he's going to get his huge push. But then Vince Russo, who I really don't care for, and I think a lot of people don't care for, he said between 5 to 7 months, Cody Rhodes is just going to be a mid-carder anyways.
Boss, answer me one thing.
Yep.
Where's the last place Vince Russo's booked?
Aside from his podcast, I can't tell you. But
exactly.
But he has a fair point. I don't know. That's a point to be argued. You don't see that happening?
No. If the amount of money they are paying Cody Rhodes, ain't no way in hell he's gonna be factored into the title picture.
Well, I didn't say he's not gonna eventually get a title push or even a title run. But after he kind of loses that, I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know about you, Joe. Would you have to say that after a while the Cody Rhodes train's going to slow down and it'll really be a nightmare?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a nightmare for him. It's going to be a nightmare for Brandy. Give it a year. Give it a year. If he keeps doing these slip-ups, they're going to tell him backstage, get with the program. This ain't that crappy AEW.
And there was also I read earlier this week that, how Cody said that he was allowed to have open mic, or was able to ad-lib. And apparently observers said, that's not true. What he said in that mic was word for word. So, again, that just shows you WWE is going to control him.
Wait a minute. Who said this?
Your good friend, Dave Meltzer.
It's probably bullshit then.
Well, no, because if it was true, then Miz wouldn't have not corrected him on those 2 banned words. When you got open, it means that you can say whatever the fuck you want. When they corrected him, that just kind of shows you, hey, Cody, follow the script. I guarantee you, the frustration factor is going to start coming in by the end of the year, and by next year, you're going to see Cody Rhodes leaving, and he might end up back in AEW as a worker because they're not going to trust him, and him coming back to a position of power. Give it a year. When they start dictating and he starts losing matches to Seth Rollins, to Roman Reigns, and all these guys, or what is it, to Omos and Big E, I guarantee Cody's going to be pissed off and he's going to leave.
Yeah, and right, like I said, he came down. He's looking for that, huge success. He think he's gonna walk in like he's John Cena, and right now, yeah, he's big business. He's a big name because obviously, people have been talking about him for months. So, well, let's move along. Apparently, there was talk about how the match fell short at WrestleMania between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. And that was apparently due to the Reigns has injured his arm. We had talked about this last week, Joe, but now more rumors are coming out saying that was booked to be short.
Well, absolutely. You can't do too much with Brock. You want to get this match. You want to prove a point. You want to prove that if Reigns is going to be the top guy, he has to dominate this guy. He has to show that he can take it as much as he can dish it out. Keep it short. Get your shit in there. Get out. What's happening right now with Reigns injured, he's going to step aside a bit. He's going to let the 2 secondary belts pull up, and then he's going to come back to do title defenses and other. I don't see him right now with any opponent now that Brock is gone. I think they're going to do the feeling out process. They're not going to push Cody right away in his direction. They're going to give it time. So let's see how that works out. Also, Terry in the chat room says, rumor has it that Brandy Rhodes is in talks with WWE now, too. Yes, she is. She's looking to get, like, the...
Oh, God, please don't.
Oh, fuck.
The Kayla Braxton spot. That's just the rumor. She's looking to get the Kayla Braxton spot and host stuff backstage, too.
No, from what I understand, okay, again, I've read other rumors where she's training to wrestle. So this, obviously, we're hearing all these different rumors. So what she's going to do, I don't know. I think she should just stay in her house and bake. Terry said Brock had to rush back to his farm and make some moose sausages.
Hey, right now that guy's got enough money. He has to keep Sable happy.
Yeah, no shit. With a face like that, you gotta fucking do something. She probably needs more plastic surgery.
Can you imagine Brock Lesnar coming home and it's like, honey, how are you doing? Moo. Stupid, I'm over here. Oh shit, the cow was prettier than you.
Let me go back out and fuck the cow.
Okay.
Moving along.
He probably would. You know what you call Brock once he has his ass in a horse's. He puts his arm in a horse's ass. He's an Amish mechanic.
So apparently, Tony Khan claims that anti-AEW tweets or retweets are bots. This was a bit of a long one, so this is what he had to say real quick. An independent study has confirmed that much of the stunt in anti-AEW online community aren't real individuals. It's a running of thousands of accounts with an army of bots who signal boost them. People who don't look really closely for aren't real people. So now let me understand that one. These are people who would pay for wildly expensive things. He said, for example, if I tweet Mako eats rotten bananas, I would throw 18 bots behind it, which would take 5 minutes to do so, and they would do the same thing, and eventually that would start a trend. I myself am not really into Twitter, but it really sounds like the way he had said it and the way he talked it, like almost like Vince McMahon saying, no, there's no other wrestling. I don't know about you, Joe. That sounds kind of weird for me.
Well, first of all, you know what? What is wrong with Tony Khan? Did someone eject him with Vince Russo mixed with Eric Bischoff that he's now like more, out there doing stuff? That should be his other people doing that. He was kind of the quiet guy. Now he's jumping into it. It's Dixie Carter in a male
as
form.
Booker T said, the problem is he's always had thick skin. And he goes, he said when people say shit like this, he loses his mind. He gets all upset and he tries to be politically correct, but he still says junk like this, and I don't know.
He should just ignore the Twitter stuff. He should just stay out of it and concentrate on running the company. That's all. That's all he should do. There should be no, those things are bots. That's fake news. That's this and that. No, Tony, go back to your company and make some money with it. Stop worrying what people have to say.
Absolutely.
I like it. A majority of people like it. Fuck it.
Yeah. Lance, your thoughts on these anti-AEW being just bots?
Well, I heard somewhere Adam used to be Braun Strowman said that Tony Khan actually used the bots, so I have no idea what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, well, again, it's like what
WWE is he pro-bot? Is he anti-bot? I don't freaking know.
It's anti-AEW bots. Those are bots. But, yeah, with WWE, I think they use the same thing. Number one trend in WWE, I'm sure there's a lot of their staff trends, WWE to get that huge following. But,
it's good to know that Megatron and Starscream are watching this because they're bots. Megatron! He's talking bad about us!
All right, moving on. WWE Hall of Famer Undertaker stated that he will be having his own podcast soon. This is also during his interview. He had stated that he has nothing but respect for Bray Wyatt, and he really wants him to quote unquote come home. Joe, obviously, I have to say that Undertaker would be the last person I think would ever have any kind of a podcast.
And it wouldn't be him because it'll be Mark Calloway talking. It's not like he's going to sit there and say, my guest at this time is Alexa Bliss. No, it's going to be my guest at this time is Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
It's not Stone Cold Steve Austin with his podcast. He hits it. Chris Jericho hits it with his podcast. They stay almost in character because that's almost who they are. Mark Calloway, nothing but utmost respect for this man and the Undertaker gimmick. But him doing a podcast, I guess, everybody can do a podcast. Even I do a podcast.
We do a podcast right now.
Yeah, that's right. But and you do a podcast, so
yeah. Every Tuesday, when NXT's on.
There you go. But yeah, Rick, I don't know. I just don't see it working. He'll probably get unless he gets Conrad Thompson, who licks everybody's ass and puts everybody's podcast
up. That's another point I was gonna bring up. He could very well easily have like a co-host, where somebody would probably just want to do Q&As and maybe even bring up a certain topic. I don't think. I mean, like I said, I don't know Mark Calloway, from the hole in the wall. I only know the Undertaker, the guy who is a man of very few words. And when we saw the documentary of Mark Calloway, and he was just a totally different dude. So, Lance, your thoughts on Undertaker getting this podcast?
Well, from what I've heard, it's going to be on Peacock. And
really?
Well, yeah.
I thought it was just going to be.
I've seen places like Peacock and the WWE have convinced.
So it's a WWE production.
Which that also tells me, when he was going up to the point where he was gonna do that final farewell thing at Survivor Series. What was it? Last year before last? Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
He must have enjoyed the process, or else they wouldn't have been able to convince him to do it. Because let's face it, from what I've been able to tell from watching the same docu-series on the network, the Undertaker's a redneck biker dude. Mark Calloway is a redneck biker.
Now, Terry in the chat room said, I just can't see Mark Calloway as a talk show host as Steve Austin. Hell, even Steve-O has become a solid host interviewer.
Yeah, dude.
So, you know...
Bottom line.
But the fact that it's just the Undertaker or Mark Calloway on this podcast, you know, people are going to watch it. If it's a WWE production, I think it's going to be, you know, people will quickly lose interest in it, unfortunately.
Rick, if I could throw this in, I've seen other podcasts. There's actually 83 Weeks with Eric Bischoff, co-hosted by Conrad Thompson. There's the Arn Anderson podcast. I forgot what it was, the Arn Show or something like that. It's also co-hosted by Conrad Thompson. Then you got the Ric Flair one. I think it just went off the air or something like that, or I'm not sure. Hosted by
Nate. Nate's just having to find another co-host with him and Mark Mack.
Right, he got rid of. Okay, so so in those podcasts they have the warm-up guy. They have the guy that basically does the talking, asks the questions, and the host, quote unquote host, replies with their thing. So we might see something like that, you know, but I wouldn't pay to sit down and watch Mark Calloway. Again, no disrespect for the man, great guy and character, but, you know, unless you're going to dress up as the Undertaker for each podcast, sit down and go, me and Paul Bearer, you know, and stuff like that. You know, it's just going to dry up because people are going to say, okay, we heard your road stories. We seen your docuseries. Why are we even listening to you?
Yeah. So again, like I said, I think the hardcore Undertaker fans are the ones that's going to listen. I love Stone Cold Steve Austin. I listen to some of his podcasts as well as, Chris Jericho's podcast, but not all the time, 24/7, you know, every time they come on. But, you know what, let's move along here.
Real quick, Rick, Terry over in the chat room says, on Twitch, he says, there's honestly, 20 plus podcasts with former wrestlers. If Mark's going to be successful in one, then I cannot think it can't be based, I think not based on his own personality.
Yes.
So
it has to be out of character.
Yeah. Which will be the longest, slowest podcast ever.
No, I wouldn't want to see that. I mean, for the most part, you're going to be listening to, to a show. And secondly, you know, he's already broken that character.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I hate to say it, but he put that thing to sleep, and I don't think it's going to dig its way out. Apparently now Vince McMahon is now looking for thinner wrestlers. Back in the 80s, we all know that WWF was full of the guys that was, 6+, and weighing 250 pounds of solid rock. Apparently now Vince is decided to go in a completely different direction. One had speculated that is why Keith Lee is gone. And NXT's Gunther, who is also known as Walter, was asked to lose some weight before he got called up to Raw. Joe, I kind of find that whole directive not to your taste.
Well, you know what? And I'll be directly honest with me. He could say that I'm wrong, but I bet you it's also not the taste of Vince McMahon. He has no choice because wrestlers today are smaller than 2 decades ago. Wrestlers are smaller than 4 decades ago. You know, the smallest person back in the 80s, 90s was Coco Beware. And that says something. You know, Vince loves big bodied wrestlers. He loves the Drew McIntyres. He loves the Braun Strowman. Not Braun Strowman. Brock Lesnar, the Hulk Hogan's, Lex Luger's. He has that history. Plus, he's a bodybuilding fanatic. Even at this age, he still works out. The only reason he says, I want thin wrestlers now is because that's all there is out there. Wrestlers are not huge anymore.
Well,
Wrestlers
let's look over at AEW
than
alone. They have some larger wrestlers. Keith Lee, they got rid of Keith Lee apparently because he didn't slim down enough.
Well,
Keith Lee,
but let me chime in on this. Yes, they do have Keith Lee. What's his other name? Powerhouse Hubs. Orlo, Brian Cage, but notice those guys are not really they're not main eventing. Look at the main eventers: Adam Cole, Adam Page. You've got Jurassic Express, Jericho, MJF. Those thinner, smaller guys are the main event. Darby Allin and all that. Now over in WWE, what do you got? That guy that he pushed against Pat McAfee, the old ego, whatever. What's his name?
Austin Theory.
Austin Theory, and you got other small people. So I think it's more like big, powerful wrestlers are not as out there as they used to be in the 80s. Now they're smaller, and then independent scene, that's what you see, smaller guys.
Well, this was happening even before, this is happening during the Attitude Era, where there was a lot of, I could say, well, I wouldn't say they were large, but they were definitely, they weren't 6 foot plus, 250 pounds of pure rock and steel. There wasn't the Roman Reigns or a Brock Lesnar, so to speak, or even, God, I can't even think of his name. I can't stand him so much. But
Terry, I don't think Vince wants thin, anorexic, petite female wrestlers. He wants those big booby jiggles girls.
Well, and again, yes, you have. That's also a completely different topic, but he wants the model-looking guys. He wants a Seth Rollins. Yeah. Roman Reigns, you could call him the alpha. He's that one bigger guy that, you got to take down, who's winning titles after titles after titles. Brock Lesnar comes out, again, monster, but he's not there 365 days a year. Lance, your thoughts on this?
I find it quite funny that not 2-3 months ago, they were letting every of the smaller guys go from NXT. Now they're looking for smaller guys? What in the hell?
And you know what? That's just the mentality of the WWE. I don't know why, but they throw everything out to the window. And they choose not to say, well, you know what? Look what we threw out the window. They did it with Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes left, and he went to New Japan Pro Wrestling. He created, his gimmick or his character. And then he went to AEW, and he kind of flourished even there. A lot of the other AEW guys that have gone over there, have started to flourish. Unfortunately, and then the other ones, for some reason or not, either have gone to other promotions or just aren't getting booked at all. I don't know, Joe.
It depends on the person, and I think, all honesty, AEW is already overbooked with former WWE people. If they wanted to, send them the Impact, send them the rebrand Ring of Honor, and send them there. Again, we're not the new era. Vince has to open his eyes. Look at the smaller guys he's got. There is no way you're gonna. But I guarantee you. Let me just say this. I guarantee you, if there was a bunch of big, muscular guys that suddenly appeared out of nowhere, that they were the next Hulk Hogan. They were the next Macho Man Savage. They were the next big burly.
Well,
Lex
Macho Man was not a monster.
No,
No,
He
Macho
could.
wasn't that big.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
don't get me wrong. He was an intimidating guy, and as a wrestler, yeah, he could wrestle with the big ones. But again, like as you was just, I didn't really want to cut you off there. Sorry.
no. That's I always do it to you, so we're turning the tables.
Well,
you know what? I can't wait to see him start bringing in midgets because he's not going to find anybody else bigger. So let's
Who's
bring
he
in.
going to get? Marco Stunt?
Yeah, right. Honestly, I don't think there are enough. I hate to say it, little people or midget wrestlers who would, the WWE would sign. And honestly, let's be, the WWE didn't even think largely on women. They were divas because they were just sex appeal. And now divas apparently is now a taboo word in the company because they want women. And now women are pretty much right up to par with the men. I don't think they're gonna do that with I'll just say midgets. Sorry if it's a bad word, but
Those little people.
yeah, but
Once you put
you're
in your
not gonna
pocket,
see him hire a whole bunch of people unless he has a nervous breakdown or his Alzheimer kicks in full swing.
Well, you know what? One thing we got to say, at least we won't see the Leah Thomases of Nia Rose going into WWE. Can you imagine Vince saying, "Hey, big girl, come here, lift up your skirt." Oh my God, you're fired.
And with that, on that note, guys, we are gonna wrap up.
Boss, hang on. That one I gotta say it. That's Joe at ScoldinsRealm.com.
You know, we had to throw that in there, Rick.
Of course. I had to go and make it weird. On that note, I would like to wrap up this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. We are here every Wednesday night, right after Dynamite, usually around 10:30 if we get our ass in gear. Joe, you're over at Skull and Realms. Tell everybody about it.
I just thought of something else Vince might say. My God, she has a bigger cock than I do. Damn it. You're really fired. I'm hashtag Scoldion's Realm. You guys can check me out. I'm on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. I am also on Instagram. And I am on, I forgot what was the other one, on Twitter at Scoldrin. I do games from today and retro from PC, the console. So make sure you guys always check it out. I just did a review on a new lightsaber. It's a cosplay heavy-duty lightsaber a fan sent to me. Really cool. I did that today, and I'm going to be also doing more reviews on drones that I started picking up and championship belts. Real championship belts, Vince.
No, they're not belts. They're titles. Titles, not belts.
Well, okay, you got it. Title belts. Gotcha.
And Lance, you're over on Lance Moss TV. What do you got cooking?
Well, the cooking thing's probably going to be sometime next year because of the price of damn food. But every Tuesday night, Zoe and I and whoever else shows up go live for an hour and a half to 2 hours with Lance Moss TV and friends. If NXT's on, you can usually have a better time having fun with us over at Lance Moss TV and friends. And the guitar bill will be coming back. It's just life's been getting in the way for me being able to film.
All right.
And if you are a wrestling promoter, please contact the Vicious Vixen Zoe Nightshade. She is looking for bookings. She is a manager as well as a worker. Just look for Kayla Hobbs on Facebook or Zoe Nightshade, and you can contact her. Well, let's go on our Facebook page in the group section, hashtag HWR chat room. I want everybody to start putting in, "We want Andy." We're going to have to get that son of a bitch back on this show.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Let's start We Want Andy.
Yeah, that's going to be the new chant. We want Andy. And with that, Until we're going to see you next Wednesday. We're out.
Buy the shirt.